So yes, Stalker 2, an independent game by GSC Game World, has just released, and compared to the most recent findings in the AAA industry, like for example Dragon Age the Veilguard, it has destroyed it in player numbers. And unlike Dragon Age the Veilguard, Stalker 2 is also available with Xbox and PC Game Pass, just going to show you that when you make a good game that doesn't pander and that just doesn't suck in general, you can actually get sales and high player numbers, even if Stalker 2 has actually been having criticism because of its poor PC performance and its bugs, which, what I've played so far, I've only experienced one crash and very minimal bugs, so you know what, from my experience alone, I've been enjoying it. Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl surpasses 110,000 concurrent players on Steam in its first few hours. I mean, goddamn man, I knew Stalker 2 was going to be successful, at least because of PC Game Pass alone, but I didn't expect it to blow a lot of other big AAA games like the Veilguard, again, out of the water. Like, out of the water entirely. And again, we are on a Wednesday morning, Wednesday night. It is no surprise, and it will come as no surprise, if this game gets even bigger player numbers as we get closer to the weekend when more players are going to be picking up this game and buying it. Now, of course, pay no mind to the players right now, as I wouldn't be comparing Dragon Age the Veilguard's players to Stalker 2's players, as Dragon Age the Veilguard has been out for almost a month, but the all-time peak, I mean, it already surpassed it by almost 30,000 players, and it's probably going to be continuing to climb again by the weekend. It goes to show you that when you take your time and make a solid game that does not pander, and especially with Dragon Age the Veilguard, it had some of the worst writing I feel like I've just heard in my entire life. Like, you can go watch my Dragon Age review, which I made. I heavily criticized the game's writing, and I stand by that point forever. And I do feel like Dragon Age the Veilguard has a few moments of some decent brilliance, but the majority of it is also garbage. Not even counting Tash and that whole character arc that Dragon Age the Veilguard and BioWare decided to shove down our throats, we look at Stalker 2, it is fun, it is graphically beautiful, some of its writing so far can be but the majority of it so far I have been extremely enjoying as of right now. And unlike Dragon Age the Veilguard, Stalker 2 is actually fun, which, believe it or not, is a thing that a video game should be. Dragon Age the Veilguard, again, sometimes it can be pretty alright. Stalker 2 so far just is fun all of the time, and I really feel like the gaming industry as a whole needs to come back to that idea that video games should be fun at its first. It should not be pandering, they should not be focusing on how to tell the most inclusive story, it should be fun. You make a solid gameplay loop, then do whatever you want. But unfortunately, even though Dragon Age the Veilguard does have some pretty decent combat, it's just still not that fun when you put everything together. But Stalker 2, in the first hour that I've played and continuing on to play, I can tell that this is something special and that is actually fun. Dragon Age the Veilguard currently sits at a 77 on PC Metacritic score, and now that's not something to, say that's like complete ass, but when we're talking about a game that's been in development for almost a decade, and just compared to Stalker 2, which is at a current 74 on Metacritic, a game that has literally gone through fucking war. I mean, a literal war. The studio has gone through a literal war and is still continuing to do so, and yet they can still put a game almost on par with a game that's been in development by EA and the legendary studio BioWare. And we're gonna be honest here, outside of two games that have been in development for probably about 5 to 8 years each, and they've also been through hell out of development hell, or the studio's been going through fucking war, and don't even mind the Metacritic scores, don't mind the player count, Dragon Age the Veilguard will not actually hit this sort of success that Stalker 2 is definitely going to be hitting. Not only because in the industry we are in today, gamers are tired of the fucking wokeness and the pandering in video games, and let's be completely honest here, Dragon Age the Veilguard is full of that. People are inherently tired of the bullshit that these companies keep pandering and keep throwing down our throats when all we want is a well-written, good video game, and Stalker 2 is a fun and beautiful looking game. Doesn't pander, doesn't have to deal with any of that political bullshit we don't need to worry about. It is a fun game in a post-apocalyptic world, and pander with that wokeism and with the DEI shit in order to sell copies. It is completely unnecessary for these companies to be doing this shit. Understandably, if you want to tell a story with a character in your own way, go for it, no doubt. I have zero issue with that. But when it's the main focus of your fucking game, and when the entire character, like Tash for example, in Dragon Age the Veilguard, every single situation where you go to talk with Tash, when all Tash talks about is being non-binary and how they want you to bring them to their mother so they can tell their mother that they're non-binary, it is so stupid, it is brain-numbingly cringe, it makes me want to stop playing your game. But then when you create a game like Stalker 2 that isn't absolutely fucking made in garbage, and you can actually produce something that isn't made in garbage, and that's something that is fun and something that is cool to play, something with a unique atmosphere, then you will sell copies. Then you will have people that make videos on it saying it's good. Even if Stalker 2 has been having issues with bugs, like all Stalker 2 games, even if it feels a bit janky, people will still look past that and say, look, no, at the core, there's a good game here. But then when you take a look at the recent AAA industry releases, like again, Dragon Age the Veilguard, you may have some pretty shitty writing, but you look past that, there's nothing good here. It's outdated as shit. There is nothing inherently amazing about Dragon Age the Veilguard. Some of its moments and its story maybe peak. I'm gonna say that right now. I really did enjoy some moments, but the majority of it is dog shit. It is outdated and it is garbage. But then you compare it to these new releases like independent developers like GSC Game World or like Balatro, something that is gameplay focused. That is the kind of game we want to play. We want to play gameplay focused experiences that are inherently addicting and fun. Something that we feel like we well spent our money on. Not shit. Like I spent $23 on Dragon Age the Veilguard through the EA Play Pro subscription. I still feel like I wasted my money because I honestly, in the end of it, did not enjoy the game as much as I thought I would. Even in that first hour, pretty decent. Kept going, oh my god, I don't know how it honestly got worse, but then you play Stalker 2. You look at it for that first hour, and I just want to play more. I want to get lost in this world. I want to stop playing Metaphor ReFantazio for a little bit. I want to take a break from that game and put more time into Stalker 2, because yes, it is just that fun. And if you are thinking about picking up this game, whether if it's through Steam or whether it's through Xbox Game Pass, take a break, look at some videos, see if you're okay with some of the bugs that are going around right now. But if you're okay with that, definitely try this game out. And if you are skeptical about buying it, pay for Game Pass, check it out for a little bit. If you really enjoy it and want to play it on Steam, do that. I highly recommend it. It is a fun game. Into the end, the main comparison that I draw here is that Stalker is a massive franchise on PC and Dragon Age is also a massive franchise on PC. And when we have two contenders that come in with Stalker 2 and with Dragon Age the Veilguard, and Stalker 2, a game made by an independent developer that I'm pretty sure is being published by Xbox, is massively surpassing Dragon Age the Veilguard, which is a game that has been in development for 10 years, something that BioWare has been able to work on and rework on and really take from what they've created in the past, and yet they still fail. And yet they still don't know what the hell they're doing, and even when they do know what the hell they're doing, they just absolutely water it down and hold themselves back. For a game that is only on current gen consoles, like the Veilguard, and also like Stalker 2, Stalker 2 feels way more less outdated than Dragon Age the Veilguard does. And honestly, Stalker 2 feels janky at times, but it still feels less outdated than the Veilguard. The Veilguard feels like that classic third-person action game that I played 8 years ago. Stalker 2 is a realistic, actual survival simulator in that sort of way in this post-apocalyptic world, and Dragon Age the Veilguard is just, unfortunately, a massive disappointment on like every single level. And I hope BioWare does better in the future. I'm super happy for GSC to have this massive success, and I really need BioWare to get their shit together, because if the next Mass Effect follows suit with the Veilguard, it's going to be extremely disappointing.